This is Chunk Volcano, my extreme one-chunk Ironman, which I decided to lock to 2 of the hardest chunks in the game. And I need to complete every task in an area before moving on to the next. I made some good progress last episode, but I still have many more tasks to complete, including 99 agility, achieving a fire cape, and obtaining a Jad pet. But one task that I've got is harder than all of these combined. 85 smithing, because to train smithing, I only have one option. Buy ores with Tockle and smelt them in a furnace. The problem is, this grind's going to take me over 1,000 hours and also require over 6 million Tockle. So, what better way to do that than trying to break a world record and get the largest amount of Tockle anybody has ever received in a single game tick? You see, my method of obtaining Tockle is pretty unique. I have to gather people to play the Tazar Fight Pits minigame, and every game the winner obtains Tockle equal to everyone's combat levels combined. But this Tockle can stack between games, so assuming that I don't die, I can stack this until the game forces me to log out. So I've set a goal of obtaining 1 million Tockle in just 0.6 seconds. But as it turns out, getting a large amount of people together for one common goal is not easy, and comes with its own set of problems. 215 people, I'm gonna die. This is impossible. I'm dead, I'm so dead. But I couldn't just throw myself into an arena with hundreds of people and expect things to instantly go well. So our story begins with a week's worth of test runs to see how efficient our community can be, as well as trying to discover any new methods that can help me accomplish my goals. The first runs went great. I was getting over 4,000 Tockle a game and they were going pretty fast, but the issues started stacking up really quickly. You see, to become the winner of the fight pits and obtain the Tockle, I don't actually need to kill or even hit anybody. All I have to do is be the last one to survive. So the best method we came up with was self-damaging with a rock cake or locator orb down to 1 health, stacking around a single tile in the arena, and then having the retribution prayer take care of the rest and essentially set off a chain reaction, killing everyone in the most efficient manner. Essentially, I'm slowly creating a group of people willing to self-sacrifice for the leader's gain. But for legal reasons, I can't call this a cult. Anyways, for the first half an hour, things went by a little too smoothly and I walked out of the arena with 80,000 Tockle. A good amount, but a far cry from my goal. But this good news quickly came to an end. This is where things started getting out of hand. You see, these sessions ran for multiple hours, and after the first hour, people started getting bored or getting distracted, which is totally understandable. But the impact of this was severe. Not only did I personally start making mistakes or putting myself into dangerous situations causing me to die, but people stopped stacking, leading to many situations I had to kill the last player myself, which slowed things down a lot. Or people were even intentionally slowing games down themselves by running around the edges of the arena and treating this like the hottest new survival game. On top of this, even my longtime friends started playing Darok's roulette to entertain themselves, and sometimes they were successful. And this is where the first real issue for the world record run really begins. How do I stop people from just killing me and ending the run early? You see, Tockle stacks between games, meaning that every time I win a game, the amount of Tockle in my rewards pool continually goes up. And I can stack this until the game forces me to log out at the 6-hour mark, but if someone actually kills me, the game automatically claims all of my accrued Tockle. So killing me is actually one of the most effective forms of trolling for this million Tockle run. And I have absolutely no idea how to stop it. But I do know how you can stop wasting money. As you can see, I'm saving up a lot of Tockle for a lot of ore, and I keep spending it on shiny new weapons instead. So I really have to get on top of my expenses. Well, that's where today's video sponsor Rocket Money comes in. Rocket Money is an all-in-one personal finance app that helps you cancel subscriptions, lower your bills, and manage your money better. Now, I'll be honest, I've only used Rocket Money for their budgeting and subscription cancelling features, but even those alone are worth it. Once you connect your bank account, Rocket Money can identify all of your subscriptions, and if you don't want one anymore, you can cancel it in simply a few taps. But I personally prefer the budgeting feature, where you can create a customized budget really easily, having the app sort all of your expenses and giving you insights of how you can stay within your budget better and help you save money. And they can even get a list of your bills and recommend you potential cheaper options. All in all, Rocket Money is a great finance management application, helping you save money in various avenues. So if you want to try Rocket Money for free and take control of your finances today, go to rocketmoney.com/Tellacon or click the link in the video description, and you might even save enough money to upgrade to premium and access additional features. Thanks to Rocket Money for sponsoring today's video. We already figured out how to let the people die as efficiently as possible, so now we started thinking about potential discoveries to make this even more efficient. We tested a lot of ideas, mostly falling flat, We even went as far as testing poison dynamite, an item that when lit with a tinderbox causes an explosion in an area and will damage and poison people in a 3x3 area, but this didn't work. But after continuously discussing ideas back and forth, we actually found something useful. Jagex recently introduced a boss called a Raxor to the game, a new Slayer boss with many new drops. But we weren't interested in its uniques. We're interested in this unique green sack. You see, these sacks can be eaten to cure venom and poison, which is what most players would actually consume them for. However, there is a secondary effect. They actually deal 4 venom damage to the player upon consumption. At first, this doesn't seem like a big deal. I mean, locator orbs can deal 10 self-damage at a time, lowering health quicker, right? Well, as it turns out, these venom sacs can actually inflict lethal damage upon the player. This was our first actual win. Having people able to consistently finish themselves off with a sac means I no longer need to sit there hitting people who don't die in the retribution stack. And it worked. Having players use these sacks didn't directly make runs faster at the upper end, but no longer did I have to sit there for 5 minutes hitting people to deal 1 damage in my lackluster gear. This was it, we finally had a win under our belts. And after this discovery, I was almost ready to attempt the world record run, but to gather so many people would take a lot of preparation. So I took it slow. Doing some more runs throughout the week, we tried to discover and rectify every problem that could go wrong. And considering that I needed 6 million Tokkul to complete this chunk anyways, doing this wasn't a waste of time. We did end up encountering a few bugs. I guess I have a KQ pet now? What is a beekeeper doing in here? You're gonna die. Some potentially more serious than others. Wait, why is the next game not starting? This is taking longer than normal, right? Why does it still say foes remaining 1? Is someone hiding? No, there's nobody here. What the hell? Oh my god, it started. Okay, luckily that's just a graphics glitch. That would have been bad. And then a problem occurred that I'd not even considered to be an issue. A problem that I likely couldn't rectify if it happened. Connection lost. Oh, no, 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 no. What happens here? Come on. Oh god, it counts as a death. Yeah, losing connection actually logs you out, which has the same impact as dying. The good news is this doesn't just lose all of the Tokkul I've accrued, but if this happens in the 6-hour run, I'd essentially have wasted hundreds of people's time. With all of this experience under my belt, it was finally time to start gathering people for the record run. It wasn't perfect, but most of the issues that we ran into were rectified, and we made a few cool discoveries. I'd just have to have a little faith in my internet to avoid the connection issues, and a little faith in my community to not kill me. But maybe it wouldn't be my community that I need to worry about. I messaged Hannah, who was a front runner for the event, and managed to gather a lot of people who, for some reason, already love cults. Hannah, what have you done to these people? I also messaged EVscape, who has as many alts as I need Tokkul, and while these other creators couldn't directly attend the event, they did send messages out to their communities, which helped out a big deal overall. So a big shout out to the OSRS community as a whole for helping push this event to its limits. While I was waiting for word to get out, I decided to finally test the whole reason that I needed to do this in the first place. You see, I've spoken about the 85 smithing grind a lot, but I've never actually put it into practice. So I wanted to do an hour of it to see just how much of a grind it's truly going to be. My smithing method is simple, but slow. Down in the city of Moral Wreck, there's a gem and ore shop that uses Tokkul as a currency. These sell many ores ranging from tin and copper all the way up to runite, and because the shop in the inner city sells runite ore, that means my highest level skilling task is to smelt a runite bar, which is where the level 85 chunk task comes from. I can't access the inner city yet as it requires a fire cape to access, but luckily for me, there also exists a gem and ore shop in the outer city as well. Now, believe it or not, buying tin and copper ore to make bronze bars is the best use of Tokkul here, as the higher you go in the ores, the more Tokkul you need. And because I only have a furnace, not an anvil, a lot of the experience from the higher level bars are lost. To get level 85, I need 3,258,593 experience, or around 525,000 bronze bars. This means I need to buy a total of over 1 million combined tin and copper, which at 4 Tokkul each as a base price is very expensive. The outer city shop only has 5 tin and 5 copper per world, but the inner shop actually has 15, which is perfect for full inventory runs. So I won't be taking on this grind until I have a fire cape and access to the inner area. So the method was simple. I hop 3 worlds and buy 13 tin and 13 copper, walk over to this furnace in the Tazar area, make the bars, bank them, and repeat. This would go by faster if I simply dropped the bars, but that'd be a bad idea because if I roll this chunk to the south, I'm gonna have a 99 smithing grind ahead of me and an anvil. So these bars will be very, very useful and I need to bank them all. As I was smithing, I noticed that the main time sink actually wasn't the smithing at all. And honestly, it's kind of a relaxing method, as well as being fulfilling and actually having a use for the tockle I've been collecting for so long. But the world hops were noticeable. The bulk of the time spent buying ore was actually spent hopping worlds, as with a max stock of only 5, 3 world hops were required at a minimum to fill up my inventory. The good news is, once I can access the glory of the inner city, this should no longer be an issue, and I'll only have to hop once per inventory. The bad news is, it severely hindered the experience rates for now. After the hour was up, I checked the experience tracker and noticed it was not even 2,500 experience an hour, and even if we factor in the inner city speeding it up by even 500 experience an hour, this would still be an 1100 hour grind. A long commitment for future Tellacon. But for now, Judgment Day is here, so I started to gather people for the event, and the world record attempt began. I'd like to say this started out slow and steady, but no. We were thrown directly into the deep end with the first game having 98 people, twice as many as the test runs. I survived, and after the first game, I got over 11,000 tockle, which means it wouldn't even be 100 successful games to hit my goal of 1 million. But this didn't last very long, as every game, more and more people were joining, and things got chaotic, fast. People were uncoordinated, games were lasting 5 times longer than normal, and fights were just happening everywhere. But I didn't die. I just went to a corner, grabbed a nice cold pint, and waited for all of this to blow over. With the numbers rising far faster than I anticipated, I left again and claimed over 60,000 tockle. This 73,000 tockle took just 15 minutes to obtain, which means it was doable. My goal was obtainable with this amount of people. It just relied on no internet drops and nobody in the community deciding to chance a Darrock hit on me. Looking at you, Puzzler. But then, it started.
I'm gonna rush him with 1 HP and Dragon Claws. If I get him, it's his own fault.
Please do not kill me. Okay, but for real, it started. Oh no. Somebody was indeed sat there firing magic at me, and I survived for now. But we weren't sure if these were just accidental misclicks or the choices of somebody much more malicious. But then, I blinked, and all of a sudden, there were 284 people in the lobby. Let that sink in. 284. This definitely wasn't only my community members anymore. This was a collaboration of my community, Hannah's, and anybody else who wanted to tune in. Because during this event, I made one fatal mistake. I decided to live stream it, and over 10,000 people tuned in with over 600 at any one time. And I was right to be worried, because this game, disaster struck. I'm dead. But in just a few seconds, catastrophe turned into celebration. Right. Oh my god, guys, I got 150,000 tockle for 5 games. I was getting over 30,000 tockle a game. So now all I needed to do was survive 30 games. Just 30 games until I've hit my goal. But I did have a one-on-one call with Hannah and brought up a concern. There is a big problem that we've got before you go.
What's the big problem?
People could, if the last person surviving is not one of our good people in game, they can just, the last 2 people, they can stand there and stall the game infinitely. And we can't see them on the viewing orb because we've got too many people rendered in the lobby.
I just feel like you probably shouldn't have said that live on stream.
Oh, that is true. But
I just feel like that's something you shouldn't have told me.
I took a time out, chatted to some trusted viewers, and we decided to create a protection team. From this point on, any purple dot on the minimap is a part of the protection squad, and any white dot is a potential enemy. Earlier, people were stalling games pretending it was a survival game, but now it had actually become one. So we went back in. I picked a corner and I was surrounded by my protectors. But this is where we ran into the fight pit's biggest crux that would latch onto the entire event. Players can move freely before the Tazar says fight, meaning no matter where I stood or ran and no matter how many players I was protected by, it didn't matter. because anybody could get at least one hit on me as the game began. Throughout the coming games, it was a coin flip. I survived some, and I was killed in others. It was like an eternal game of cat and mouse, and honestly, survival seemed like it was completely out of my hands. But it wasn't the end of the world. With the 50% chance of winning, I was still racking up over 30,000 tockle per win. And whilst that doesn't help me with the goal of 1 million tockle in a single game tick, it does still contribute towards the 6 million I need on the account. So I persevered, and things surprisingly improved. I started winning multiple games in a row, and with just 3 wins, I was already 1/10 of the way to 1 million. But then the first real trolls showed themselves. It's not in the collection log. The shop does not. Whoa, what the fuck? Yo, wait. Whoa, what the? Dude, who left the bronze guy alive? He killed me. I didn't even win. There was a guy alive. He's just killed me. And honestly, even though this guy straight up killed me in a one-on-one, compared to the person that showed up later, this guy was a saint. But because we got our first confirmed troll, the group convinced me to swap worlds and to only share the world in the Discord server dedicated to this event. That way, the stream viewers wouldn't be able to find the world very easily. And for better or for worse, this cut the active players down to 70. But that didn't last very long, as for some reason, everyone seemed to find the world really quickly. I think I had a leak, but with so many people in the event, it'd be impossible to pin this on any one person. And while my tockle was increasing, one thing stayed consistent. Hannah, I'm surviving so far.
Are you really?
I don't know how, but I'm dead.
I'm not. Oh, okay. Well.
I'm dead. Somebody was in the shadows, blending in, constantly hunting me down. But eventually, he showed himself. I have 21 health. I'm going to run south as soon as the game starts. Oh, they instantly got on me. Oh, I'm deboed again. Now, this guy, he needs no introduction. No, legitimately, he needs no introduction because I refuse to put his name in the video due to the carnage this person dedicated his time to perform. So, like any good troll on RuneScape, let's name him after the first thing he ate. And probably the only thing he eats, being able to dedicate not 1, not 2, but 6 whole hours to ruining an event for no gain. We'll name this individual Instant Noodles. You see, Instant Noodles has a very specific strategy. He would mage or darkbolt me from the shadows and make sure to kill me every 1 or 2 games. But he eventually started getting more brazen and followed me around at the beginning of every lobby to ensure he could get the hit on me no matter where I stood. And not only that, knowing I have no form of anti-poison or anti-venom, he made sure to venom me on his initial hit, so even if he died, I would soon succumb to the same fate. And although not too helpful, here's where something interesting happened. When I die to venom after a game starts, I don't die. In fact, I don't even get restored to full health. My character does the death animation, and then I recover to 1 HP and revive, so this is not like a ticky, like I've just regen health. This has to be the most jank interaction I have ever seen in a minigame on RuneScape, and I'd have loved to explore it further, but it didn't seem abusable in any way, so we moved on. With Instant Noodle existing, it seemed the world record attempt would be impossible. It's incredible how just a couple of people can ruin the enjoyment of others, but honestly, throughout the entire stream, I stayed positive, optimistic, and tried to keep everyone else in a good mood. But it was a tricky situation. Whilst Instant Noodles had all the time in the world to waste, everyone else didn't. And now instead of the player count rising every game, it was falling. Every time I died, more and more people left, and after just 2 hours, we were back down to just 75 people. Barely higher than the test runs. We did get to see a few friends though. In fact, EVscape came and said hi as well.
We just joined the game and then like go down to 1 hit point and just stand on a tile with retribution or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, I just insta died on all of that. That's so fucking funny.
He couldn't stay very long, but we had a lovely time. Thanks for coming out regardless, buddy. Hannah also had to leave around this time as well.
I'll tell everyone to go watch your stream and then I'll head off.
So then it was just me and the community. Although I personally didn't mind and was staying optimistic. Okay, guys, good news. I just got an extra like 25,000 tockle. It was taking its toll on the community members who came out to make this happen. And after 6 hours, I decided to call the event because no matter what world we hopped to, and no matter what kind of protection methods were put into place, the venom was just too much to handle and the 1 million tockle dream was impossible. We had a couple of days break and I started watching Hannah's perspective, you know, for a little bit of hope, just to see if her and her community enjoyed the event. And as it turns out, sometimes your greatest assets and your greatest friends turn out to be your greatest enemies.
I found out I could send announcements, so I started just sending emotes of butts and penises. Oh shit, I'm not meant to leak the world. Don't look at that.
And Hannah, I love you to pieces, I really do, and you made this event much more enjoyable for everyone. But if I may just say one thing, fuck you. In all seriousness, Hannah was a great help and has her very own perspective from her side, her community, and her stream. And if you could go watch a video and tell me just how many times she leaked the world, that'd be great. You'll find a link to her video in the video description. And with that event over, not all was lost. You see, having access to so many people might have had its flaws, but it also gave me a lot of good information. Even without a troll, games were taking upwards of 5 minutes to complete, compared to the 60 to 90 second test runs. The amount of people standing around AFK, not stacking on the retribution, and just needing to be picked off by the protectors, stalled out games long enough that I began to wonder if that was even the most efficient way to go about it. So I decided to take a step back, scour all of my recorded footage for hours upon hours, and make a list of everybody who I believed would be an incredible asset on this journey. And a week later, I had an offline event with many less people, and one less Hannah. And this group stayed consistently consistent. For 6 whole hours, this group did the most efficient runs, and I finally had hope once again that this was possible. But was this amount of people too little to obtain a million tockle? After all, I've essentially gone from 400 people a game all the way down to an average of 40. But I was hopeful, so we persevered and pushed through with no breaks. And we had that much trust that even the protectors were joining in the death piles. We did start to get worried though. As the hours went by and no tockle actually got collected, we had no gauge of just how much I'd actually earned. We had no way to know until that very last moment where I walk out into the lobby and claim the tockle for the first time in 6 hours. And then, after what only felt like an hour, I got the message. You'll be logged out of the game in 30 minutes. Oh no. And we just continued to push, dying as efficiently as possible until the next message came. And the next. With 5 minutes left, the stress was rising because I didn't want to get logged out. The thought of logging back into the game and seeing a tockle in my inventory paled in comparison to actually leaving and watching it be obtained. And with just 2 minutes left, I went to leave, but everyone convinced me to stay for one more run and put their all into it. So I stayed, and with just 25 seconds left before I got logged out, the final game ended. Now, this group have stuck with me from the beginning. They were in all of the test runs, they were in the stream, they're here right now, and they have put hours and hours of their time into this. So I don't think it'd be an over-exaggeration to say they're as excited and also concerned about what happens when I walk through these gates as I am. I wanted to leave. They're the ones who convinced me to stay for that one final game, and as I walked back through the gate, the most incredible thing happened. 1,000,002! Holy shit, we did it! Oh my god! This was cutting it so close. That is to the game. That is 6 hours to the game. And with no exaggeration, the people that convinced me to stay for that one final game actually saved the entire event. Without that final game, I would have ended just short of 1 million tockle. And the impact and excitement you can see from everybody that joined me on this journey in the chat wouldn't have felt anywhere near as amazing as actually getting 7 digits. And I did it. I actually got 1 million tockle, and I'm pretty sure nobody else has even come close. Is this possible to be? Yeah. But you've seen the difficulties in this video of how hard it actually is to coordinate all of those people. So maybe this record won't be beaten for a long time. And this video is proof of just how incredible a community can be. We have content creators like Hannah who bring their communities together, and even some smaller creators like Agile Tom, an incredible other chunk man that you should definitely go and watch, who was here for almost every event helping out on the protection squad. And then we've got the viewers who, without them, none of this would have been possible. Now, I'd like to apologize for my lack of uploads over the last 6 weeks. As you might have noticed, this video was edited a little bit more rough and a little bit different to my regular chunk videos. Well, that's because my PC broke, and I only lost my work in progress projects, including this one, but I lost a little bit of footage, all of my settings, and much more, and I had to spend a lot of time to build a new PC. This set me back a few weeks, so genuinely, I apologize for the lack of uploads. A content creator without a community cannot survive, and this video is proof of that. So I'd like to give a genuine thanks to everybody here watching right now. But much like this video, we faced a lot of setbacks in real life this month, but I've persevered through and managed to release this video. But don't worry, you won't have to wait 6 weeks for another one. Even with the setbacks, I've been sat on a lot of recovered footage, so sometime soon, look forward to another volcano chunk episode. And trust me, you won't want to miss this one. So make sure you hit that subscribe button.